Hey everybody, Bill again, and welcome back to X-Plane 11. I am in the trusty old default X-Plane 11 Cessna 172, and we are at Opelika, north of Miami. I picked this airport for a couple of reasons. My dad used to fly in and out of here all the time, so I've heard a ton of stories about him flying in and out of this airport. The other reason is I wanted to do this flight in Miami or Florida because it's really flat and basically everything's at near sea level. And Opelika just sounds cool. It's fun to say. Opelika. So I'm in the 172, the default 172, holding short here on runway 09 left. And we've got the ATIS, got altimeter set. Today I am going to test the service ceiling of X-Plane 11. I want to see what happens when a plane is taken up to and past its service ceiling in X-Plane 11. I don't know what normally would happen in real life if a plane is taken beyond its service ceiling. I can make some educated guesses. The engine performance is going to take a nosedive. It might become unstable in the thinner air, stuff like that. The 172 is obviously a plane that doesn't want to doesn't want to go straight. The 172 clearly doesn't have a pressurized cabin, so it's going to be interesting to see if there's anything that X-Plane does to the pilot. If there's any animation of loss of oxygen or anything, that's going to be pretty interesting to me. So just kind of like in general, what is the simulation going to do to this plane once we get up in the air way too high? So the service ceiling in a 172 SP, I have three figures and they're all just right around each other. So I've got one number that's 13,000 to 15,000, and then another one that's just right in the middle at 14,000. So if we just take the higher one, oh, see, there's 1350. Yeah, so everything's in between that 13,000 and 15,000 number. What direction am I going in? I'm just kind of... I did not do any planning on this. I am literally just taking off and pointing the nose straight up. So start the climb now. Another thing that I don't have a lot of knowledge on is engine performance as it relates to climbing out. So I know that if I kept it all the way lean, that's not good for the engine to just hammer it like this. Max not lean, max rich, max throttle, nose up is really hard on the engine, and I do have all of the failures on. So if I dial back the mixture a little bit, pull back the throttle a little bit, I don't know what... I mean, I could probably just... Let's look that up while I'm doing this. Cessna 172 max climb rate. I don't know if that's going to show up anything useful. Oh, good. Just a huge chart of a bunch of numbers that don't mean anything to me. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to hope that I have this set so it does not break at some point. I should probably just use the autopilot too instead of just hand holding this thing. Oh crap. Little heading bug got away from me there. Okay, so autopilot, heading, vertical speed. Nope. Where are you going? Okay, so, alright. There we go. Okay, now we can relax. Alright, so we're at 1,000 feet per minute. Easy math on how long it'll take us to get to the height we're going. Okay, so now I just have to keep an eye on the speed. Yeah, I'm losing airspeed quickly. So if I give it a little bit more throttle. Okay, so the more throttle I give it, the more it pitches the nose up. That's kind of interesting. So I have the vertical speed set to a certain feet per minute. So the faster, oh shoot, the faster I'm going, the steeper the climb rate's going to be. Come on back. Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, autopilot was off. Man, already, this is already not easy. There's Miami International. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. Let's get autopilot back on. Probably gonna hit a transition altitude. Okay, so speed's coming up now. So we're on heading, vertical speed. Speed's coming up. Slowly dial this back up. Let's check it out from the outside. Man, this plane is so underrated. In this simulator, they did such an awesome job on this. The lights look awesome. Perfect coronas around the flashing lights. What's up, Miami? Okay, so 700 feet. Genuinely curious how this is going to go. I think there is a chance that something might be animated with the lack of oxygen. Or even temperature. I should probably... I mean, we're in Miami. It's probably not going to get very cold. Yeah, 58. But if I turn it on now, does that do... Okay, it drops the amps. But it comes back up. I'm going to leave that on just so I don't forget about it. I don't think it's going to hurt. Actually, no, it might hurt the performance if we're having the alternator run. Yeah, some of these textures don't look worn in. I mean, it looks like it's a brand new plane, but it still looks awesome. I mean, you can tell what's supposed to be either like painted metal or soft touch textured material. The carpet looks awesome. Leather. Okay, 6,000 and climbing. Let's click it up to 1,000. See how long it's able to hold this rate. this is going to be what I have to keep an eye out for, because I don't think it has the power to do this. I'm starting to think this maybe was the wrong plane to do this in. Oh well. It'll get us some good flight time. I just realized we're probably going to end up over the Florida Keys in the middle of nowhere. So that might be kind of interesting, trying to land this. Assuming assuming it's landable after what we're about to do to it. Okay, speed's coming back down again. There's 7,000 feet. It's a quick halfway point, considering we had a little autopilot hiccup. I'm gonna hit the charts one more time and see kind of where this is going to take us. Yeah, I might be going a little bit too much straight south. If I go, no, yeah, I want to go west a little bit. I want to go west a little bit. Keep it west, and that will kind of go Keys area if we make it out that far. I don't know. We might. That's kind of a long way, though. We probably will hit the Keys, but not south of the actual tip of Florida, according to the map. We've got some options. Just like this kind of dead zone here. So if we make it out to this area and need to find an airport quickly, doubling back or hitting one of these guys will probably be the best option. We'll keep that up. I would like to do this and then actually land safely. It's out there. What are you? Let's see if I can find that. So we got 2 parallel runways, one cross runway. That is Miami Executive. Kilo Tangle Mike Bravo. Homestead. That's cool. Must be the racetrack somewhere around here. Oh, and then we have there's actual Homestead just south of us, and that's where the speedway is. All right, so we're heading right to that. So there's Homestead right there, and then the racetrack is right to the south of that. And then we hit the Keys, so we probably will be over water pretty soon. Okay, altitude check. 8,700. Airspeed is okay. We can probably go nose up a tiny bit and watch this tumble down. 41 degrees. It's all right. And this is oh, actually, it's current weather, but I don't know if it is what time of year I set it at, or if that even matters. So that is tumbling quickly. Holding at 80, that's good. Okay, vertical speed, 700 feet per minute, as indicated here. Heading 210, speed 75 knots and falling. Temperature of 39 degrees, altitude 9,400 and climbing. How's everything else doing? Fuel flow, green. EGT is low because I am pretty rich. Fuel, that's fine. Oil temp in the green but high. Oil pressure, good. Vacuum, good. Amps, good. I wonder what that is. Okay, airspeed is dropping. So let's pull that out a little bit. Coming up on 10,000. It's funny flying some of the more powerful planes that climb a lot faster. I mean, even the commercial planes, I mean, those climb like crazy, and then you're up at 30,000 feet within, 20 minutes. The heights that we're talking about in this thing are really low, which is why I was kind of interested to see what it really does, because obviously X-Plane has physics for heights much higher than this. 15,000 feet is nothing, but how is it built into the plane model? What physics are built into the plane model once you get to that altitude? And I'm also curious to see with an unpressurized cabin what's going to happen to me as well. Start of the Keys right there. Biscayne Bay. I guess it's back here. I think we're coming up to that really crazy bridge too. It's somewhere over here, maybe closer down here. Probably won't render it from this height. Okay, speed's coming back. We're at 80. Kind of holding at 80. Let's click it up a little bit. I don't know why I did that, but I just wanted to make that 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave me alone about it. Okay, airspeed's starting to come down a little bit, and we are at 32 degrees, so I'm going to put on pitot heat. It's 31. Doesn't look like there's any precipitation in the air, moisture, but I'd rather not have to deal with whatever happens if something does get screwed up with the pitot. Because we are doing dangerous test flying right now. Okay, so coming up on 11,500. Getting closer. Airspeed coming back down. Click that up. I have payload in the plane set to just my weight, and then I do have a pretty fair amount of fuel I had like 3 hours worth of fuel. I think it was like 170 pounds. So we got plenty of fuel, and it's arguably a little bit on the heavy side, which is going to not help our climb performance too much. And I mean, there's no way we were gonna do 3 hours of flying to do this, but that's the time estimation that X-Plane gives you in that opening setup window is based on cruising, and this is far from cruising. This is like maximum climb performance. So I figured that the fuel flow is going to be a lot higher than than in a normal cruise. And in fact, I'm going to bump up the richness as well. The fuel flow starts to creep up a little bit. And I don't know if they have simulated the spark plug performance, and if they're going to get all screwed up if we're running max richness. Good thing is, though, we do have plenty of altitude if something were to happen with the engine. So we can push it a little bit further. Okay, so there's 12,300. So we're coming up to the bottom end of some of these ceiling numbers. 13,000 was the lowest I've seen. I guess it says depending on the model 172, service ceiling is between 13,000 and 15,000. So and I did ask it what the Skyhawk one is. So let's see if Wikipedia can shed any light. Specifications. General characteristics. Okay, performance, cruise speed 140 knots, stall speed 47 knots. We're getting pretty close to that now, actually. Range, service ceiling 13,500. Rate of climb 721 feet per minute. Okay. So 700 is the max rate of climb. All right. Doesn't give me any helpful information really, but okay, so here's another one that says for the SP, looks like 14,000 is the service ceiling on the SP, according to globalair.com, which we are coming close to that right now. Yeah, this climb rate is saying 730 feet per minute. Range 14,000. Okay. Yeah, 14,000 looks like it's the number. And those are obviously service ceilings, so we know that the plane could do a lot. Not do a lot higher. Can go a lot higher. Those are probably pretty conservative numbers. So service ceiling, I'm not expecting anything to happen at that point. And we're really starting to slow down now. So I'm going to lower the nose a little bit and build up that airspeed again. I got everything maxed out now. So oil temp is okay. Pressure is a little bit higher. Fuel flow is still just under 10. temps are really low. Getting colder. Okay, start hearing that RPM climb a little bit. Creeping back up to 70. And we are coming up on 14,000 here too. We're starting to get into that no man's land area too. I don't know if this is, oh yeah, this is actively updating. So we're 8.5 miles away. Well, that's a short little runway there. Okay, so there's 14,000. So that is the max service altitude for the Skyhawk 172 SP. So anything past this is going to be above that service ceiling. So if something's going to happen, it's going to start happening from now on. I would definitely be cold at this point in here. It's 19 degrees outside, so that is not good for comfort level. Okay, so we are, let's see, kind of coming over Key Largo right now, looks like. Maybe in this area here. Coming up on 14.4. Airspeed's slowly dropping. Let's tick it up a notch. So the engine's really having to work hard now. It's thinner air, very cold, which that shouldn't hurt too much, but the thin air maximum, full rich, full throttle. Trying to kind of pay attention to the sound of the engine to see if anything's changing pitch-wise. I'm sure they don't have misfires. Oh. That's a buzzer. Stall warning. Whoa, okay. Just wanted a +1 there. Yeah, it's starting to act up now. Okay, so now we're coming at the upper end of the 172 model service ceiling. So of all the 172s, this is as high as you're going to get. Okay, I'm going to kind of try to follow the keys a little bit. There are a few places to land along the actual keys, so I think I'm going too far west now. Yeah, getting away from the nearest airport now, not going towards any. It's like Marathon might be the closest, and that one's deep out there. Yeah, maybe this wasn't the best place to do this. I'm gonna flip it around. I'm just gonna do a 180 here. If I even want a chance at landing this thing at any point. I'm gonna probably want to start going towards some of this stuff instead of away. Okay, so there's 15,000. We got 80 knots. Heading towards civilization. Look at all that. Looks a lot friendlier. Okay. Alright, so 80 knots. Let's bump this up a couple clicks. So now I'm going to look up max altitude for, let's see, max altitude for non-pressurized plane or unpressurized. How about that? Jeez. Okay, so the AOPA says for at cabin altitudes above 14,000 feet, pilots must have oxygen on at all times. And that above 15,000 feet, each occupant of the aircraft must be provided with supplemental oxygen. Okay, so that is pretty telling, because we're getting way past that, and nothing is changing. Yeah, so okay, oxygen mask would be needed at this point. Let's say without any supplemental oxygen between 12,500 and 14,000 feet for less than 30 minutes. Okay. Huh. Interesting. All right, well, it's kind of becoming clear that there might not be too much in the way of consequences for being up this high. Man, we are up here pretty high though, huh? I think that's the Homestead Airport. Look at those jaggedy lines. I bet that's a setting that I can just tweak, 'cause that's like crazy jagged. Shadows look nice and relatively anti-aliased in here. Yeah, it looks pretty good even zoomed in. But outside, that's not good there. Or there. But that's good. Okay, what are we at now? 16,000 feet. Man, I'm surprised and kind of bummed that nothing catastrophic or crazy's happening up here. I mean, other than being like totally passed out from lack of oxygen. This thing's just going. Fuel still looks okay. It's definitely going down at a higher rate than it normally would. Oil pressure and temps are good. Amps are good. Vacuum's good. Exhaust temps low. Airspeed not good. Very, very odd. Actually, it's not that odd. It's just... it's a bummer. Just kind of hoping that the dude would pass out in here. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And it's taken freaking forever. I will tell you that much. It's taken a long ass time to get up to what is, in a lot of planes in this simulator, not that high. But it's just a little plucky 172. Well, anything else? While we're up here, it's at 9 degrees, so it's cold as hell. I'm still freezing in here. We're at level flight right now, and the airspeed's just starting to come back. Maybe we're up. We're climbing a tiny, tiny bit. It's a little bit nose up on the trim there. Just barely over. That'll get us back to 70. Let's pump that up a little bit more. So now I'm thinking of the best way to get down. So if I just point the nose down, it's going to overspeed the plane and the wings are going to literally rip off. But I wonder, since I'm going slow enough now, I could actually put the flaps down and keep the speed slower, but the dive faster. If that makes any sense. So if with no flaps, if I put the nose down, our vertical speed will drop. Speed will go up here. We'll do 140, and then it'll overspeed to 160, and the wings will rip off. But if I put the flaps down, I could pitch the nose down more and hopefully maintain a healthy negative vertical speed without going too fast. And I think I want to start doing that. I feel like 18,000 feet is like a good place to call it. Like if nothing's happening at this height, it's probably not going to happen at all. I also could just go into the map and just make the altitude 25,000 and see if it does anything. But that's cheating. I don't like cheating. I don't like cheating that much. Especially in this. Yeah, Laminar Research said that they are working on these texture repeats and finding a way to minimize the appearance of these reoccurring textures. And it's like obvious that it's a pattern. You can just hear the pitch of the engine go down as it's like slowing. course. Okay, so I think I'm going to not do 18,000 and just say, yeah, service ceiling and a 172 in X-plane doesn't do much. Really doesn't do much. Yeah, just like totally stable. I mean, it's not moving around really at all. Okay. All right, so while we're still climbing, let's take this time to see where we're at and where we actually want to land. So, okay, that is Homestead. Right out there. It's confirmed on the charts. So then we have, north of that, we've got the Miami Executive, which should be just to the north. It's kind of a interesting view. Good view of the cockpit. This is kind of cool. It's like a GoPro placement. Okay, so Miami Executive is going to be somewhere over here. Probably going to fly. No, we won't fly over it. It's going to be right over here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's Miami Executive. Actual Miami International is going to be north of that, and then we've got Opelika a little bit further. Okay, so let's see where. So there's Opelika's up here. Let's see how far we are from that. So if we go to Opelika here. Is that right? Yeah. And that is 27 miles. And closing, obviously. Okay, so let's try that. Get headed in that direction. And we are going to come up on 1800 here. Or excuse me, 18,000. Yeah, nothing's happening. There's no... Not blacking out, not losing oxygen. Bummer. Bummer, bummer. It was worth testing, though. So now we're gonna once we hit 18,000, I'm gonna start heading down, and I think I'm gonna try the flaps. My flaps idea, just because I want a little bit of excitement, and I feel like that's gonna be a pretty bad idea, but in a good way. Okay, almost there. Yeah, we're up there now. such a cool looking plane. Okay, so there's 18,000 feet in a Cessna 172 and just nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay, so let's turn off the autopilot. Let's trim for level flight. Where are you going, buddy? Okay, that should do it. Okay, so let's lean her out. Pull the power back. So there's 70. First notch of flaps. Second notch of flaps. Third notch of flaps. Okay, so now we got the barn doors out. Look at that. That is so awesome looking. Those things just come straight down almost. Okay. Power down. And nose down. We're just like hanging. Look at that. That looks so ridiculous. Having full flaps like that up this high looks crazy. It sounds kind of cool though. Okay, so now I just have to watch the airspeed like a hawk. So not only do I not want to exceed the airframe max speed, but I also don't want to exceed the overspeed the flaps. That would complicate things. Okay, so I think that might be Miami right there. So, where's